Hey guys, welcome to Rookie Mistake on a Monday. Look, had a really good email this week from one of my followers who's just signed up as a sub, and he just asked if I could throw him a couple of tips in how to do form and just things to look out for. So I've written down three of them here, which I'll get to in a second. Obviously, doing this full time, there were things when I worked in the corporate world where just little things that you wouldn't notice if you're just betting on a Saturday afternoon. You don't have the time. Most of my work is done through video work, so that's where I pick up horses. He touched on how did I identify Aliana before everyone else. Well, Aliana was doing things that, if you know the secret sauce, which only I do, in how I pick my horses, Aliana was doing things that other horses just don't do. So I cannot wait to see her in the spring. But I do have three tips. Obviously can't give you the whole secret sauce and how I do my form, but happy to give those to you. And I think they can definitely help with your punting and won't sort of incriminate on what I'm doing. So happy to do that for you. And thanks for the email. Thanks for signing up. Now, for all you other guys out there that are just watching the videos, haven't signed up yet, it is still 120 a month. If you want to get involved, couple of spots there. And essentially where we make most of our money is we have these really big wins. Like last year we had a day where it was 6 out of 7. We've had 4 out of 5 before. We've had 6 out of 8 before. And a few weeks ago we had 5 out of 9 wins. So that's basically where we have these just huge wins. The problem for me is obviously I don't know when that's going to happen. So if you don't want to miss out on the next massive win, and you just want to sign up and give it a go, it is 5 tips on Wednesday, 9 tips on Saturday, sent directly to your mobile phone before the first. So I try and make it super easy for you guys, and you just pop your bets on if you're at work on Wednesday and just get back to your work. So so essentially most of my work is done through video, watching replays. I do get some data in terms of the splits of the race, but that's primarily where I'm finding my horses. It's just through video work. It's very time consuming, and I think there is an edge there that doesn't come through in the data if you know what you're looking for. The other thing I'd touch on that I don't really mention much, but my knowledge of horse racing in Australia is like encyclopedic. So I can go back to about 1994 when I started watching racing and right up until now, and pretty much I'd go toe-to-toe with any person in Australia in terms of knowledge. I used to do trivia every single week, and anytime there was a horse racing question, we would just go and line up, so to speak. So I've got this massive background in racing where I can call upon, and sort of most of the thing with any sort of knowledge is your recall. So I've got very good recall of horses in the past. So, and Aliana did remind me of a couple of those horses, a couple of those champions in the past. But we'll see how she goes in the spring. There's still people looking to take her on. Chris Waller doesn't run her in the Caulfield Cup. He's kidding. I think she's $8 still. A great price to get on. Now, let's get to these 3 tips. So something I just wanted to mention firstly, if you're just doing your video replays and you're having a look at races, this is something I know a lot of people don't do, and it's the only way I can do it now, is I will watch the race, I'll review the race with mute on. So I don't want to hear the race caller. Often we're subconsciously influenced by what the caller's saying. And just remember, they're calling it in real time, so they don't have the ability to go back and watch it again and again. And their eyes will go to something that's flashing home with a red light on it. So that's the horse that everyone gravitates to. I'm more inclined to take that horse on next start because I know everyone's just seen it from the call. So I'll watch it once with the call, and then it goes to mute. I'll make notes of what the callers let's say, highlighted from the race, because I know that's the low-hanging fruit. A lot of punters will black book those horses, and I look to be against them in the future. So it's just a little tip, little something that you can use moving forward if you do video replays, which I think is the best way to get an edge these days, is to use video work. I think, to be honest, I think it's the only way, because all the corps have all the data. You see a lot of the guys on racing.com, and they're all data and times and what have you. And everyone's got those now, so you're not going to find an edge with data and times. They're so well tried. that the only real way now, and the way that you can get an edge, is if you have a better idea of how well a horse is going or how good a horse is, and you're better than them at determining that from the videos. So that's how I see it at the moment. That's the landscape. I just find with data very, very difficult to win. Now, my second tip is look for horses in sprint races which jump well. So quite often you've backed them. You know, they'll jump really well. They'll jump into the lead with a bit of a spring. Quite often they're drawn wide and sneak back in the field. So sneak back, and you want them to run home just outside the placing. So you sort of don't want them to run top three, but you can see that if they've been a little bit more positive and gone forward on it, and the horses had a really good sectional late and run home well in the straight, what could have been, you know, if they'd gone forward and actually shown some intent. That is another one that you can look for. Pretty easy to do. Just watch, even as you're watching the races on Saturday, if you see a horse do that, black book it, because it generally means they were super keen to run, they jumped well, and then the jockey was just negative and snicked them back, yet they've still run home well and didn't run top three, so they didn't really have a flashing light on them. So that's another good one, something I look for. It's definitely in my list of things that I look for in races. Yeah, it's you can actually make quite a lot of money out of that if you were just sort of being really strict. And the key is that they run outside the top three. Now, the third and final point is more just to do with punting in general at the moment. Did a video a couple of weeks ago just about the changing landscape and how those short price horses are just getting smashed in the betting, and there's not too much the corporates can do about it. They've got to continually shorten them in. I've had a lot of messages with guys that have seen that time and time again over the last couple of weeks, and we will see it more and more. So my third tip would be, really, I know there's a bit of a subconscious sort of leaning with humans to secure a price and hold on to that price. But what I would say to you now is, now that the smaller pools and the punting, particularly the win pool, is getting smaller and smaller, definitely have a look at top tote. Even if you just put your bets on Saturday and then just jot down what the top tote is, because I'm seeing it just basically come up as a great option if it's available to you. It's not available to everyone. It's not available to me on most of my accounts. But the smaller pools mean there's a bigger differential now between the biggest price and the lowest price. So if that's still available, I'll make a prediction that they won't offer that too much longer. It'll be mid-tote. So they'll just give you the middle tote. But if you have top tote still available, I would milk that for everything it's worth, because sometimes you're seeing a horse on a Saturday, which you'd never see in the past. You'd see a horse at like Rose Hill and the three totes will be $6, $8.10, $7.20. So if you can get that at that $8.10, generally that horse would have started around $6.50, $7 fixed price, and that can be the difference in the end with winning or losing. So it can make a massive difference. The horses I give out in the morning, they generally shorten. So on my data, 62% of the horses I give out in the morning shorten. So I would still suggest to my guys to take up the price early, but maybe not as much as we used to. Maybe have a think about saving some, keeping a little bit of money back to take top tote. So those are the three tips. Really good email. Obviously, there's a bunch of other stuff that I look at that is sort of my edge and the thing that I'll keep closely guarded. But I think you can make a lot out of those three tips. If you just implemented those three things, I think it will give you a massive difference to your punting, and particularly top tote. I think that's for all of us. Obviously, you want to get that price early. It's just built into us as humans. We don't want to not take the price and then you see the horse shorten. But I think on just looking at how it's going at the moment and how the landscape is, with some of the pools being so small, particularly in Queensland, some of the pools are just so tiny on those other meetings. Like if you can get top toed on Morphettville on a Saturday, it's generally will smash out of the park any sort of price you could have taken in the morning or before the race, unless you've had there's a horse that massively shortens. So let's assume there's a horse in the race, $1.60. Something else you'll look at is how many people are tipping it. So if everyone's tipping it, it'll generally shorten, because again, people are time poor, hence how I operate my service, sending out the tips to your mobile phone. So if you're not home, you can still put those bets on. And people are time poor, and they'll just have a look and go, David Gately's tipped this, the race callers tipped it. And so you've got a fair idea that horse is going to shorten. And the top tote for the $6 or $7 shot that you want to back is probably going to be around $8 these days. So that is something that has changed over the last 3 or 4 months. So I hope that helps, guys. And as I say, there are spots there available. On Saturday, we had a winner and we had 3 placings. And when you're only sending out 9 tips, it's very frustrating. We had a 10-1 shot that ran third. The horse I gave out on here, it's never led in its life. And for some reason, the jockeys speared it to the lead and the horse would have just been lost. I think it ran last. So apologies to you guys for the free tip on Saturday. It has run shocking. Had no idea it was going to lead. I thought he'd go back, sort of get a trail and circle, which is what the winner did. But no, he's gone out gung-ho and tried to lead on it. The horse would have been just totally lost. So that's it for me today. Hopefully some of those tips help. If you want to sign up, rookiemistakepod@gmail.com, $120 a month. Get involved now. You can lock in the 120. Obviously, heading into spring, more than likely the price will go up. That's it for me today. I'll be back on Wednesday. Rookie Mistake out.